The moment Emily's car vanished down the driveway, heading for her supposed business trip to Chicago, Daniel sprang into action. He wasn't about to wallow in heartbreak or demand answers she'd only twist with lies. He had known for weeks. Her secretive glances at her phone, the late nights at the office, the affectionate texts she thought he'd never see. Instead of confrontation, he chose something sharper, more deliberate. He had a plan. First, he tackled their finances, logging into their shared accounts, his fingers steady. He transferred nearly every dollar into his personal savings. It wasn't about greed or vengeance. It was about protecting what he'd earned, what he'd built while she wove her web of deceit. He left just enough in the joint account to make her notice, a small jab to unsettle her carefully laid plans. Not enough to strand her completely, but enough to make her trip falter. She'd feel the pinch. Next, he severed her from his digital world. He removed her from their shared phone plan, blocked her number, and erased her presence from his social media. No texts, no calls, no room for tearful excuses. The silence would speak louder than any argument. But the real satisfaction came unexpectedly from a phone call the next day. Emily's mother's number flashed on his screen, and when he answered, her voice erupted in a fury. "You heartless coward," she spat. "Because of you, Emily can't enjoy her trip with a real man." Daniel let the words hang, her venom sinking in. Then, with a calm that surprised even himself, he replied, "If he's such a real man, he can cover her expenses." The line went silent, her sharp gasp cutting through the tension. He hung up, a quiet thrill settling in his chest. He'd struck a nerve, and it felt right. For 8 years, Daniel had believed in their life together. A charming house in the Atlanta suburbs, stable careers, shared vacations, and laughter that felt like home. They were the couple others envied. But beneath the surface, things had eroded. Emily grew distant, her phone always tilted away from him, her warmth replaced by secrecy. His instincts screamed, but he ignored them, until one night when her phone lit up beside her in bed. A single message glowed on the screen, and he couldn't look away. What he found shattered his trust. Texts brimming with intimacy, plans for the Chicago trip she'd framed as work. In that moment, his world shifted. Not just his heart broke, but his faith in their shared life crumbled. She'd chosen someone else, fully aware of the stakes. Maybe she thought he'd never discover her secret. Maybe she thought he'd stay passive if he did. She was wrong. That night, as she slept soundly beside him, Daniel decided, no shouting, no accusations. He'd make her feel the weight of her choices. By the time she landed in Chicago, trying to pay for dinner with a card that no longer worked, reality would hit. No money, no way to reach him. Just her lover and the dawning truth that the man she betrayed wasn't the fool she imagined. Daniel found closure not in words, but in action, in the quiet power of cutting her off. The fallout came swiftly. Emily, likely savoring the early moments of her escape, faced a harsh awakening when her cards were declined at the hotel. Confusion turned to panic as she realized Daniel had blocked her. Her carefully spun lie about a work trip unraveled, leaving her stranded with the man she'd chosen over her husband. The lover, once a smug figure in her fractured marriage, now bore the trip's financial weight. What began as a thrilling fantasy soured into a nightmare. Daniel pictured their tense silence, the blame shifting between them, and it brought a grim satisfaction. Emily's mother didn't let up either. After their sharp exchange, she flooded Daniel's phone with voicemails and texts, some raging, some begging. He ignored them all. He was done with their guilt trips and manipulations. Each unanswered message reinforced how complicit she'd been in Emily's betrayal. For Daniel, the freedom was intoxicating. The lies that once suffocated him lost their grip. Emily had wanted it all, his loyalty and her lover's excitement, but she'd lost everything. Daniel, meanwhile, was unshackled. He rebuilt his life with intention, step by deliberate step. No more pretending. No more carrying the burden of her choices. Reflecting later, he knew it wasn't just about retribution. It was about reclaiming himself. Sometimes healing demands more than walking away. It requires ensuring the betrayer feels the ripples of their actions. With his life back in his hands, Daniel found peace. As for Emily, she learned a brutal lesson. You don't betray the one who holds you up. Her deception cost her everything, and the sting of losing Daniel would linger long after the money ran.